my people leader at work is amazing. We have a really great relationship, and there are some tasks that she might want me to do, but I'll say I can't do that. Like, for example, check 300 lines of data in a spreadsheet. That could not be me.
Yeah. Right, that's asking for trouble.
I'm just not going to do a good job at that. And she understands that and will be like, yeah, absolutely, we'll get someone else in the team to do that who does have those skills, So I think it's that type of thing where it's like your expectations of people do need to be different based on what their strengths are. Because there are things that I will excel at and there are things that my teammates might excel at. And they're completely different things. And if we play to everyone's strengths instead of just playing purely to our positions all the time, it just makes the work makes work so much better for everyone.
I have to say, as someone who's spent time in the New Zealand public sector, it is one of the more infuriating things that there's an expectation because someone's got the same job title that they will all have the same strengths.
Yeah.
And try to turn everyone to having the same strengths. And the reality is everyone's going to have different strengths and different challenges. Yeah. And it sounds really incredible that you've got to a situation where you can have that conversation and say, hey, boss, actually, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine some situations where people might not be able to have that conversation.
Yeah. I think, do you know what? It took me a long time to feel like I could say that confidently. And I think that it's much easier for me because I'm in a more senior role. When I was a coordinator, the expectation, that was my work. Yeah. My work was to do that. So if I couldn't do it, I equated that with, well, I can't do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I found those things much more stressful, and I would have really felt concerned about communicating that to my leaders, in the past about that. But now I feel like I'm very lucky to be in a position where I'm at the stage where I can communicate what I need at work, because that's not always the case. You can't always... No. People don't always have that privilege.
And the thing is, you're probably at a stage where people actually see your strengths.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Therefore want you to play to your strengths.
Totally.
That you reach a point where actually feels like you're really good at this.
Yeah.
So why would you get you to play to something that perhaps you're not so good at?
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. Why would we get you to do that if it's not actually what you're strong at? And I think I would say though, to people who maybe are earlier in their career that might be listening to this, or maybe you're a parent wanting to support your child who's early in career, is that is really important. You can communicate those things to your workplace if you need to. And if you need advice on how to do that, there are people who can give you advice on how to do that. And I think, or in the How We Work community would be a great example of that, coming into the community and getting some advice from people within there. But communicating what your needs, it doesn't make you lesser than someone else because, because you have talents in other areas, I just think it's people sometimes don't know that they can communicate those things, I guess.
And I think my way, particularly for neurodivergent individuals, is to frame it up. If we're going to have this discussion with their managers, frame it up as, this is how I work best.
Yes.
So even if you're really uncomfortable about identifying that you might have ADHD or you're on the autistic spectrum or you have dyslexia, if you frame it up, this is how I work best. Most managers are really grateful, speaking of someone who has been a manager, to have someone who's got enough self-knowledge to know their strengths and things they find more challenging. And that is potentially one way of framing it up if you're not comfortable about putting a label to it. And you can say, hey, this is how I work best. I need to have a quiet space when I'm focusing on this big project, as an example.
Absolutely. And I think... I think that there's that self-awareness piece. You're so right. Most managers, I think that people struggle with at work is not being able to articulate what they need, and then their manager not knowing how to solve the problem for them. I see that all the time in organizations I've worked in. So I think the more that you can communicate your needs, the better. That's a really positive thing to be able to do that.
Totally. But I think people, a lot of time are actually really, in some sense, are scared, but I think if you can actually frame it up as, this is how I work best, and particularly if you're new to the workforce and you're finding your feet and trying to negotiate all the things you do when you're new to the world of work and how you do stuff, having something like that in your back pocket's quite a useful thing.